This evening on House and Home, Chef Barry gets into the kitchen and whips up some basic Zillag egg crepe and lime.
Now by making one Zillag egg blemi. Okay, time making more Zillag eggs blemi by putting frying pan blemi too, so by hot and stuff.
Norman of Pims talks on the 2050 vision on education.
Our country's development roadmap for the next 40 years up to the year 2050, as many of you may and should already know, is the government's Vision 2050.
Origin Gas Talk continue on with the 8-block safety with gas campaign, emphasizing more on safety tips.
When lighting a gas stove, don't be in a hurry to turn on your gas. Always have your match lit before you turn on the gas appliance. And if gas stove or burner has a self-ignite button, press that before you turn on your gas.
Our Besta Mum Miriam does up a salad with Besta mackerel on the Cooking with Besta segment.
Besta mackerel is a good source of omega-3.
And it's more great quality buys to share over at Brian Bell.
The Glockman water pump. The name says it all. It's a pump that pumps water.
A very good evening to you all and welcome to House and Home. Thanks for joining us once again. A busy weekend for some and for others a possibly more relaxing one, and then there are those who have been in full swing in training for the 2015 Games, especially here in the nation's capital. I'm certain it would have probably gotten a little tough under the heat as the humidity made it quite uncomfortable to bear. For those who've experienced it, I'm sure you would agree with me. Well, we're now into the new month of April and Easter is not too far off at all. The long Easter weekend falls on Good Friday, which is the 18th of this month, right through to Monday the 21st of April 2014. And of course, Holy Thursday is on Thursday the 17th, but that's regarded as a normal working day for most, if not all of us. I'm sure you all would have noticed all the Easter eggs and hot cross buns already out on the various supermarket shelves as early as March. The Easter eggs, I've noticed, have been selling out pretty fast, so if you haven't got your chocolate Easter eggs yet for your children, I suggest you get down to the shops and buy some. But the tricky part would be to keep them away from the children until Easter. We move on with the show, and first up we head on over to the House and Home kitchen where Chef Barry is prepping to cook up some basic Zillag egg crepes and lime. That sounds like a very interesting recipe and one I'm game enough to try out for myself at home. Enjoy!
Good night to all viewers. Welcome back to our Zillag cooking show tonight. And tonight by me cooking basic Zillag egg crepes and lime. We're by me using Zillag eggs 70 grams. You can look in Zillag eggs 70 grams and big size of Zillag egg. You got on apple size grams to start of 50 grams, 55, 60, 65. Now this lime big lime 70 grams. Zillag eggs Mr. choosing because empower protein and power cake egg. Okay, now by me show me all ingredients by me. We got 2 tablespoons caster sugar, 1 cup plain flour, 1 pinch salt, 2 tablespoons butter. The problem banana when we cut and finish them, we buy me kaka 1 time Zillag crepes blend. We got 2 cups milk. First, by me add plain flour blend me go inside, sugar, salt. Okay, one plus simple easy recipe. Okay, you mix it 1 time, so by combine 1 time. Okay, now you work 1 plus. Hold the center. I add milk, blend me go inside. Add the milk, blend me go inside. Give me turn him. Okay, time I'm go. Kind mix also now by me adding Zillag eggs, blend me go inside. Okay, now by me adding 1 Zillag egg, blend me. Okay, time adding more Zillag eggs, blend me by me putting frying pan, blend me too, so by hot and stuff. Okay, 2. In time. Zillag eggs by giving protein. Let's let Zillag crepes blend me so you can enjoy your breakfast blend. Okay, we mix them go same. I add 1 plum more Zillag eggs. Turn him. I'm going to mix 1 time. I'm ready to cook now. Okay, this level of recipe you can cook him enjoy him breakfast blame. Okay. Okay, this mix blame ready now by me. Start cooking frying pan blame him hot stuff. I may add him little pinch butter blame. Okay. Okay, spread him butter low. I'm gonna have the frying pan blame. Time walk lo hot na by me add him. One mix go inside. Okay. Now by me larim by side cook okay by me tanim na by napla side cook ken. Right now by me tanim by napla side cook ken. Okay. You can look him basic genic crepes and lime. Blame him. Cook nice cook through. Alright. Yes, you can look him basic genic egg crepes blame him ready. You put yourself by me cooking up again. Now by me turning by napla side cook again. Okay viewers, you can look at napla I'm ready can. Now by me put the napla again. Okay, now by me turning can by napla side cook again. Alright, I'm ready now. You can roast and put it in a plate now. Now by me add him all bananas play me. So you can enjoy the sweetness below. Basic genic eggs with banana and lime. Okay, viewers, you can look in basic genic eggs, crepe and lime where you using genic eggs 70 grams. Genic eggs, power protein na power kai kai.
That was pretty easy. Thank you for that, Chef Barry. And to all you watching, be sure to join Chef Barry once again next time for the Zenak Cooking Show. The cooking show that brings you awesome chicken and egg recipes that are not only easy to follow, but are easy on a budget. Coming up after the break, we join Norman of PIMS, where he shares his thoughts on education in the government's Vision 2050. See you soon.
Good evening, viewers, and welcome once again to this, the 16th PIMS episode on House and Home. For those of you who have been faithfully following the PIMS segment of the program, I would like to thank you all for your viewership and support thus far. One can rightly say that since the colonial days and our independence, we have come a long way in our development as a country, socially, economically, and politically. We have accomplished and done much, one might add. However, depending on the reach and impact of these developments on the lives of people, I am sure citizens along the length and breadth of our country will have differing opinions on the real benefits or lack thereof of these developments. Our country's development roadmap for the next 40 years up to the year 2050, as many of you may and should already know, is the government's Vision 2050. A specific opening statement in the Vision 2050 is that the country has only one strategic vision, and that is the Vision 2050. Any present or future plans or visions must be aligned to Vision 2050. Positive development must not be left to chance, the next line says. The main summary statement of Vision 2050 says, I will read it to you, we will be a smart, wise, fair and happy society by 2050. We will be ranked in the top 50 countries in the United Nations Human Development Index by 2050. Creating opportunities for personal and national advancement through economic growth, smart innovative ideas, quality service, and ensuring fair and equitable distribution of benefits in a safe and secure environment for all citizens. The first of the 7 pillars or strategic focus areas of Vision 2050 is human capital development, gender, youth and people empowerment. Let me read to you the United Nations Development Program or UNDP's definition of human development. It is about creating an environment in which people can develop their full potential and lead productive, creative lives in accord with their needs and interests. Key words and a very key statement. For me, that's the real meaning of development. That's what government should be all about. That's what development should be all about. That's what educated elites and all of us should be all about. Enabling and empowering as many people as possible so that they have the ability to be productive and creative and stand on their own 2 feet. The barometer, the yardstick, the standard or criteria by which United Nations assesses and judges human development around the world is through its Human Development Index, or HDI. The HDI is a composite global or worldwide comparative statistical measurement of a country's social and economic dimensions. These social and economic dimensions are based on the health of the people, particularly life expectancy, their level of education attainment, and their standard of living. As a composite statistic, the HDI is therefore a pretty good indicator of human development and progress worldwide. Using a score between 0 and 1, the HDI is used to rank and distinguish whether the country is developed, a developing or underdeveloped country, and also to measure the impact of economic policies on quality of life. The UN's HDI list covers 187 member states. Furthermore, countries are grouped into 4 categories. Number 1, very high human development. Number 2, high human development. Number 3, medium human development. And number 4, low human development. Given what I stated earlier about our country coming a long way in terms of social and economic development since colonial days and independence, how do you think we fare on the UN's worldwide HDI ranking scale? We may be in for a surprise. An extract from a prominent fellow Papua New Guinean writer and researcher published in one of our daily newspapers, published on the 27th November 2011. I paraphrase it here. In the most recent updated HDI list of 2nd November 2011, PNG has a HDI value of 0.466 and is poorly ranked at 153 out of 187 countries in the world. It is grouped in the low human development group. When sub-ranked in the East Asia and Pacific region, PNG also does very poorly and is still placed in the low human development group of the region. The HDI of the East Asia and Pacific as a region increased from 0.428 in 1980 to 0.671 today, placing PNG below the regional average. So much for effort, we discouragingly might say. For all of us to get a full appreciation or fully fathom the challenge that our country faces in trying to fulfill Vision 2050, I will now present some other facts and figures or social indicators that give us the setting to this long and trying journey to 2050. Number 1, current illiteracy rate in PNG may be as high as 85%. Number 2, almost 50% of PNG is under the international poverty line, earning nothing or less than 70 kina per month. Number 3, 50% of the combined grade 8, 10 and 12 students, which numbers about 85,000, miss out on selections each year and become school dropouts. Number 4, 70% of grade 12 students standing at 13,000 plus currently consistently miss out on selection to tertiary institutions. Number 5, the grade 12 school dropout number will exponentially increase to surpass the 100,000 mark by 2020 by virtue of the free and compulsory education policy, a looming, unavoidable, worrisome and disturbing statistic. Number 6, 680,000 children in PNG today are illiterate. This means that 50% of school-age children stand no chance of being able to read or write and contribute to nation building. Number 7, 90% of PNG businesses are owned by foreigners. Number 8, PNG is the highest incidence of HIV and AIDS in the Pacific, a potentially devastating threat that can quickly wipe out a significant portion of our most productive workforce. There are also other major health issues as well. Number 9, currently PNG is ranked a very low 158 out of 180 countries on the Corruption Perception Index, and the list goes on. So when Vision 2050 says that we aspire to be in the top 50 countries on the UN's HDI scale by 2050, leapfrogging more than 100 countries, not to mention fulfilling all the other parts of Vision 2050. I think you are with me on this one. Easier said than done. Let us not be under any illusions whatsoever. It is not going to be a walk in the park on our journey to 2050. It is not going to be a joyride. It certainly will not be your average pleasure trip. What these statistics and social indicators are telling us is that we absolutely do not have the luxury. We are not in a position to be continuously and routinely engaged in corruption, mismanagement, and self-interest pursuits. Our education, health, and other service delivery institutions do not have the luxury to be continuously delivering poor and substandard services. All our students at all levels must step up in attitude and performance, because that's what it will take. If we do not get our act together in the next 40 years and dramatically improve our statistics and social indicators, Vision 2050 may prove to be our bridge too far, so near and yet so far dream. In closing, education and human development will be the key to fulfilling Vision 2050. It is no fluke or chance that the writers of the Vision 2050 document made it the #1 of the 7 pillars of the Vision 2050. That is why we at PIMS and the New Norman CK Institute, NSI, will not waver, but continue to do our bit and our best in providing alternate and second chance opportunities to as many disadvantaged citizens as possible in our country. We have no other choice. Once again, I thank you all for your attention tonight. Till we meet again in 2 weeks' time for another PIMS episode, it's good night to you all. Have a safe and good week. Thank you.
Coming up after the break, we talk up safety tips on Origin Gas Talk.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on Origin Guest Talk. I am Henry Maipu, and this evening I will go through step by step on safety tips when dealing with gas. So far on Origin Guest Talk, we've presented to you the introduction to our Safety with Gas campaign, why cooking with gas is more efficient, not to forget more cost effective, and demonstrated the effectiveness by cooking with gas compared to other conventional methods, the correct way in connecting your gas cylinder, and what should you do if you discover a fault, the right ways of lifting your gas cylinder safely to avoid injury, especially from straining your back, and how you should transport the different sizes of cylinders in a vehicle. Safety is paramount, and we of Origin are committed to being socially responsible by leading this campaign to further and correctly educate our consumers in using gas safely. Now, I would assume here that not many of our households in the country are currently using LP gas as the preferred method of cooking and other applications. One contributing reason is one that we've covered over the past shows, is the fear factor. However, gas is safe and easy to use. Just like dealing with fires, there are safety precautions that need to be met and understood. The only way you are going to know these precautions is if to get educated or are shown these safety measures. This is where we come in. Let's run through our safety tips. Gas is an element that cannot be felt, touched, or seen, but you can smell it. So take note that if you smell gas, the first thing you need to do immediately is turn off your gas appliance and call us here at Origin straight away. When lighting a gas stove, don't be in a hurry to turn on your gas. Always have your match lit before you turn on the gas appliance. And if gas stove or burner has a self-ignite button, press that before you turn on your gas. Now, if for some reason your gas burner does not ignite, turn off your gas immediately, and before you make any attempt to try again, you need to wait for the smell of gas to clear completely. Take note of this next point. Don't leave the control knobs switched on when the flame is not burning. Cooking can leave behind a lot of grease, and when that's not cleared properly, it tends to build up. Make it a routine to clean your gas immediately after cooking. Make sure that gas burners are free from used matches, grease, and bits of paper. Pay attention to the color of the gas flame. A gas flame should be blue. If it is yellow, that is one indication telling you that you need to have your gas appliance cleaned. When using gas, you need to always stay near the gas appliance when the flame is alight. Another safety notice is to always be mindful when cooking, is to turn handles of the cooking pot or pan in and out of reach of children. Better still, keep the children out of the kitchen. Also keep combustibles, papers, cleaning fluids, paints, curtains, rags, and other highly flammable objects well away from gas burners. A large number of our consumers are private and commercial residential, supplying LP gas to households or the domestic sector as we call it. Most of these homes would have children. Teach your children to never use or play with gas appliances, and explain the dangers in a way that your child can understand and will obey too. If you own an actual gas stove, explain the do's and don'ts. Don't allow your children to stand on an open oven door. There is a chance it may tip over boiling pots. Most kitchens in homes have windows, and there's a need for that. Only use gas appliance in a ventilated room where there is access to open windows and a door. Gas appliances are just like vehicles and need to be kept well maintained in order to last longer and keep in use. Have your gas appliance serviced regularly. Most, if not all, pots and pans all come with handles, and most are made to sustain extremely high temperatures. When cooking, it's best to keep the flame smaller than the pot to ensure the handles remain cool and you don't damage them. One last point when cooking. When opening an oven door, keep your face well away. The rush of hot air from the oven could burn. Some of these safety tips are basically common knowledge, but all points are just as important and should be practiced in every home. If there are any points that you've missed out on, you can always log on to MTV website www.mtv.com.pg to view this segment of Origin Guest Talk again. If you'd like a copy of our flyers on safety tips, please do contact our Origin office. Contact details are now on your screen, or call into any of our Origin depot nearest to you. We also have available gas burners and various other appliances. If you were interested, call toll-free number 180-2468 or email customer_care@originenergy.com.pg and we can assist you with all your gas needs. Thank you again for joining us. Hope to have your company again next time on our next Origin Guest Talk episode, where we will continue on with our next topic focused on safety with gas awareness campaign. Don't forget to keep a lookout for Uncle Gasman appearance at your nearest Origin LP Gas dealer. And remember, LP Gas, life made easier. Have a good evening.
A lot of great safety tips there to keep in mind at all times, especially turning the knobs off on your stove or burner after you're done cooking. Some of those tips are simple and basic reminders, but it's always good to keep one of those flyers in your homes as a refresher to read over as well as a constant reminder. After the break, we join Bill Neal over at Brian Bell.
Hey, hey, Mr. B.
Good evening, and welcome to another Brian Bell segment on House and Home. I'm your host for the evening, Bill Neal. Tonight, we're going to be looking at a new product being sold at Brian Bell, the Glockman water pump. The name says it all. It's a pump that pumps water. Sure, there are a few of these in the marketplace. You've seen one and you've seen them all. It's a water pump. What am I, the end consumer, going to do with a water pump? Hopefully by the end of this segment, you realize that this water pump is not just for engineers that are mine to use. It's a very practical product for everyday people. It's a solution to some people's problems. It can be applied to the family in the village, to an agricultural farm for crops or livestock, and even be used by people living in settlements and on the outskirts of cities where the water supply can be an issue. Already sounds like an interesting water pump, right? If you live in the village, sometimes water is not convenient. You need to walk a distance, sometimes uphill, down dale, and repeat it several times a day, or carry your dirty clothes to a water supply, wash them and then carry them, and they're wet, and then you carry them back and you do it again, give up. Other situations like people living in settlements, the basic access to free clean water is a myth. So how do you survive? Outskirts of town, again, if services are slow in getting to you, then help yourself and get a Glockman water pump. Bring the water to your doorstep and make life easier. Do you have to walk long distances up and down hills to fetch water? Do you do this several times a day? Is there no water supply near where you live? Brian Bell are now selling Glockman water pumps. Glockman water pumps are a new, revolutionary, water-powered water pump. That's right, you heard correctly, it runs on water. It can pump water for 5 kilometers. Pump it from a water source to your house or tank. It is environmentally friendly. It does not need petrol, diesel, or electricity to run. It pumps 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 52 weeks a year. Solve all your water problems today and come in and inquire about the Glockman water pump. Now, I could go into the technical sides of things and tell you about how to place a pump, that you need a drop, a downward gradient so that the water will flow, how to construct the system so that the pump can support it. But this would take too much time and I'd bore you to death. So here are the facts that you need to know. It can pump water for 5 kilometers. It doesn't need a source of energy, which costs money to run. Water powers the pump. Therefore, you need to put it in a stream or a creek, river inlet where water flows constantly. Now I know what you're thinking. Our beautiful country is blessed with many fresh, clean rivers and creeks and watering holes where this product would work perfectly. Take a drive up the Highlands Highway and see all the places where this Glockman pump would be perfect. Look, here's a picture to demonstrate how the Glockman pump could be set up. What sort of a site is suitable to the Glockman pump? A Glockman pump requires a constant flow of water, ideally a site with a natural drop. This helps build water pressure. If you don't have a drop naturally, then you want to build a weir. To create that water pressure, it comes through the drive tube, through the water-powered pump, then out the pump inlet filter, back up to your house, your tank, watering hole, or wherever you like. As you can see from the picture, the pump will pump uphill, using only water as its source of energy. Now, you can apply this easily to a farming situation where you may want to feed your livestock or water your crops. And moving water around is an expense that you just can't reduce because water is life, especially on a farm. Its benefits are: makes it easy to access water. You can store it in a tank, a watering hole, wherever you like. No running costs. Think about that for a second. Once you've bought it, you've installed it, there are no more costs incurred from the Glockman water pump. Pretty good, right? The time and money it would save you, regardless of which setting you're in. Living in the village, working in rural areas on the land, this product will save you time and money and make life a lot easier. It's simple to install, it will self-regulate. This means that if the river flow stops, then the pump will simply slow down. It's versatile, so you can use it for whatever situation. There you have it, folks, the Glockman water pump, solving water problems for everybody. The new stock is available at Port Moresby only at the moment, but if you are interested, inquire down at your local Brian Bell Home Centre. See, I told you, they're great products, great prices. Live at Brian Bell. Bill Neal signing out. Good night.
Best price, best quality, guaranteed at Brian Bell.
Right on, Mr. B.
Thanks again, Bill Neal, and we'll look forward to next week's episode of Brian Bell. More on House and Home in a moment, so stay with us.
It's the tastiest tuna in a can. It's the new Besta Tuna Chunks in 185 grams. Packed with 100% premium white meat goodness. The finest export quality tuna is now available nationwide in oil and brine. Besta Tuna Chunks and Bestia. Proudly PNG made.
Good night, everyone. Welcome and thank you for watching another House and Home Cooking with Besta. Our tonight's recipe is called Besta mackerel salad. In front of me we have 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 tablespoon of freshly chopped basil, 1 ripe tomato chopped, 1 small onion finely chopped, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, 1 garlic minced, half chopped cucumber, and our main ingredient, Besta mackerel in natural oil in 155 grams. Firstly, we'll add in our Besta mackerel and break into chunks. Then we add in our cucumber, and then we add in our tomatoes, onion, our olive oil, minced garlic, tomato paste, our basil for seasoning, a pinch of salt, and a pinch of black pepper for taste. Okay viewers, this is how your Besta mackerel salad should look like. We'll mix all of them together. You know, Besta mackerel is a good source of omega-3, and you can purchase this at your nearest supermarket. Okay viewers, our Besta mackerel salad is now ready to be served. Here you have it, a very simple recipe to prepare, and our recipe is once again called Besta mackerel salad. Thank you for watching and hope you meet me again next week, same time on House and Home Cooking with Besta. It's better, it's Besta, pride of PNG.
It's the tastiest tuna in a can. It's the new Besta tuna chunks in 185 grams. Packed with 100% premium white meat goodness. The finest export quality tuna is now available nationwide in oil and brine. Besta tuna chunks and Bestia, proudly PNG made.
Another easy recipe from Besta, and one that will take no time to throw together, especially for those of you always on the run and for those who are too tired at the end of the day to prepare dinner and are in need of something that's not going to take up too much time to prepare. We'll be back with more on House and Home in a moment. Welcome back. This month of April undoubtedly looks to be a promising month for some, not just because of the long weekend to look forward to, but also most schools are on their first term break this month. A lot of sporting and entertainment activities have also been organized for the month. Also, most churches would be in the process of prepping for church activities, whether it be held at their respective church or hosting week-long gospel conventions or community visits throughout various areas of the country. Now next week on House and Home, Dr. Ambi talks more on mental health.
To be fun and to grow up fun, we must have good health. That means good health means you must have good mental health and good physical health.
On Cooking with Besta, our Besta mom Miriam cooks up a mouth-watering Besta tuna chunks patties.
Flatten and then you coat it with flour. Coat on both sides. Add into the pan.
And it's more great quality bites to share over at Brian Bell. This is it for now. This is where I leave you. Remember, don't just think healthy, you need to live healthy. Until next week, from the House and Home crew and myself, it's good night.